Hey everyone, CWD Music here. I'm CWD, and this is going to be an addition to the semi-existent segment that kind of changes names every now and again, the monthly roundup, where pretty much I go through a good beefy chunk of albums and pretty much give you guys my brief opinions on all of them, since I've kind of been putting reviews on the back burner for right now, but hopefully that's going to change in the coming future. I do have an announcement to make though. I am going to be doing reviews for the rest of the year. Not for like new albums or whatever. Well, technically they're kind of sort of new. But these are going to be reviews for albums that I mentioned were my favorites this year from April to now. And I wanted to do these reviews because I didn't feel like I've done that great of a job describing in detail why it is I love these particular records. So it's going to work in chronological order by months. It's going to go from April, May, June, July, etc. There are definitely going to be favorites for September that I'm going to mention in this video, so anticipate reviews in full for those, but I just want to give you the gist of what I think of these records in this video when I get to them in this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this roundup thing that I'm trying to do. Yes, finally! A new LCD Soundsystem album in 7 years. It's like an hour long, there's a lot of variety to it, it's danceable at moments, really emotionally soul-ringing at moments. Give this thing a try if you have not listened to this. I don't know why you would not have at this point. That'd be weird. I don't even know what this band is anymore. They used to be like a really good post-rock band, and now they're trying to go all over the place with an album with no actual variety or sort of concept or consistency. What even is this band? I don't even know. Because we needed more dream pop in this world, apparently we needed more of this. I guess it's alright, it's not horrible, it's not exactly great. Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, check this out, you'll get something out of it. This is going to be an honorable mention for the month, since it was shy of being one of my favorite albums of this month, because I found the project to be one-dimensional, but albeit still well executed. The production is hard-hitting and punchy. The songwriting is catchy and also pretty hard-hitting. The riffs are great. So if you're looking for a garage rock album that just goes balls to the wall and is just fantastic, then definitely check this album out. This album exists, and that's it. It doesn't really do a whole lot but exist for about less than 40 minutes. I was kind of skeptical of this thing, given the fact that I wasn't sure what kind of music Rostam would make on a solo front, and unfortunately I didn't love this album, but I did come out of it liking it, kinda sorta. It has a little mixture of like Animal Collective, some Vampire Weekend, some Bon Iver. I feel like Rostam needs to figure out his own sound in the course of his solo career if he is going to be more serious about solo projects. I mean, I was kind of excited to hear what Rostam would do, since I did like the Hamilton Lighthouser album a lot that came out last year. But hearing Rostam doing music that I've kind of sort of heard before doesn't really have me all that engaged, unfortunately. This was good. I definitely thought this was good. It's not anywhere near as great as albums like The Boxer, but this was definitely good. It's sort of depressing in a sense, and it's more so on the level of like existential angst, sort of. I did find a good chunk of the lyrics to be pretty basic in a lot of ways, and some of the instrumentals here and there could have been fleshed out a little better, but still, this is good. If you're a National fan, definitely give this a try. If you're looking for a gateway National album, then definitely give this a try. This had a really good start, a very strong start, but it kind of fizzled out. I thought this was going to be like a really interesting, hard-hitting pop record, and in a lot of ways it is, but unfortunately it just doesn't like hold up to the standard it set for itself at the very beginning of the album. I did find the lo-fi indie pop and indie rock aspect of this album to be pretty good, but nothing compared to what he put out with the album Pom Pom about, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? But a lot of people seem to love this album, and all the power to it. I just don't love this album. I didn't think that it was that great. But you will probably love this album since a lot of people do, and since a lot of people love it, you should too, because that's how music preferences work, apparently. I thought this was gonna be okay, and it was a little more than okay, but it wasn't exactly great. I did find the album to be likable, especially with a band like Foo Fighters that you'd think would be burnouts at this point, given the fact that they're a rock band that's been around since the 90s. But still, I'm actually pretty impressed of how consistent the album was. I did find the production to be pretty hard-hitting and raw. I just wish that there was more ideas that Foo Fighters could have gone with. I wish that Foo Fighters would have fleshed out a lot of the lyrics and instrumentals here. But still, it's a Foo Fighters album, and Foo Fighters do what Foo Fighters do. And if you're into that sort of thing, if you're a Foo Fighters fan, you'll eat this album up like dessert. This was really abstract. Like, I'm talking like weirdo portrait abstract. I liked dark comedy a lot, and I still like dark comedy a lot. And this one, while not as great as dark comedy was, I definitely still like this album. It's not a favorite of mine for the month, but Open Mike Eagle is still doing and saying very interesting things in this realm of the underground, abstract hip-hop sort of thing. And if you're looking for something like that, then definitely give this a try. This is like if Rage Against the Machine dropped their debut album, and it sucked. You know, on the criteria of it being an album that isn't just some jam they decided to put in the studio, this is good. Mackelmore, more like Wackelmore, or Mackle No More, or the album's garbage. You know, I kinda had like sort of an anticipation for this record given how so many publications have hyped this thing. I'm a member of the record club Vinyl Me Please, and they announced this as the record of the month for October. I finally gave this a listen since it came out this month and not next month, which is weird for the record company. But still, I didn't really find a whole lot that was engaging. I mean, I like the atmosphere of the album. I like the whole spacey neo-soul experimental R&B thing that Moses Sumney was going for, even if his falsetto kind of sounds like Elmo from Sesame Street at times. But I didn't really find a whole lot that made me want to listen to it again and again and again and again. I didn't think it was like as great as everybody says it is. But if anything I described sounds good to you, it sounds really interesting to you, or you've never heard of such a thing before and you want to give it a try, then yeah, definitely give this a try. If you're a fan of artists like Leanne LaHaves, Bon Iver, then yeah, do give this a try. You'll get something out of it for sure. Wonderful, wonderful is what I would say if this album was. Yo, Kurt Ballou on this thing, Aaron Turner of ISIS on this thing, Troy Lanluvuin, whose name I still can't fucking pronounce correctly, of Queens of Stone Age on this thing. The riffs are sludge metal as hell. The atmosphere is hard-hitting. If you do not acknowledge Chelsea Wolfe as a metal artist at this point, then I am fucking disappointed with you. Yo, I had some anticipation of this album to be as great as it was, given the fact that you have like really good features all across the album. You had Ninth Wonder doing most of the production, and Rhapsody showed a lot of promise as an MC when I heard her first on To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. And actually hearing this album, this was dope as fuck, man. If you're looking for a formidable female rapper, then Rhapsody is up your alley for sure, especially on this album. This is the most Tim Hecker sounding album you will hear this year. This is the most Sigur Rós sounding album you're gonna hear this year. This was solid. It was a nice, sort of jazzy, neo-soulish type thing going on. I did like sort of the atmosphere that Ibeyi was going for with this album. And some of the features were pretty cool. Kamasi Washington, of all people, is on it. I just wish that it was maybe longer. I just wish that the songwriting was a little more compelling and varied all throughout. But still, good album if you're looking for sort of a interesting R&B, neo-soul type thing. You know, I anticipated this album to be horrible. But you know what? It wasn't. I mean, it was emotionally vapid. It was basic as hell. Matter of fact, it was not even remotely good. It was pretty much bad and borderline shitty. But you know what? This wasn't horrible, and I commend the album for that. Primus, the Desaturating 7. This is the most Primus sounding album that's actually been out in like a while. I mean, it's kind of impressive that it's been this long since we had a Primus album that had like the original lineup going on. Matter of fact, it's pretty impressive we had a Primus album that is of original material. It's the first one in like 6 years, so I definitely see this album as a big deal, and if you're a Primus fan, give this a try. You'll love it. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. It's a Primus album, and you're a Primus fan. They come together. At first I was disappointed with this album, but when I was listening to some of the lyrics within this album itself, I thought to myself, okay, there's got to be something deeper in this album. There's got to be something that I'm not getting. And I still don't completely understand the concept of the album, but I definitely did have to revisit it like more than just the one time. So that ended up having the album grow on me, just like their previous album did, The Ancient Intellect. If you haven't listened to that, give it a try, you'll love it. Or maybe you won't. It's a post-punk album, and people seem to not like post-punk, kinda. But still, if you're looking for a sort of mischievous, sort of depressing, sort of garage rock, post-punk album, something that's really wordy and something that is abstract as all get out, then definitely give this a try. This is the most Arcade Fire... Oh wait, we had an Arcade Fire album. It sounds like Arcade Fire a lot of the time, and I don't know why. This is a band that has their own unique sound. What happened? This is probably going to be my favorite electronic album of the year, no question about it. I found a lot of what Igloo Ghost does, not just sort of reminiscent to Flying Lotus, especially since he's on the Brainfeeder label. A lot of what was on his EP about 1 or 2 years ago did have me think, oh, this is just a sort of Flying Lotus type guy, and I dig it, but I don't love it. But with this album, he's coming more and more into his own. He's trying to break into a more next level kind of songwriting with his stuff. A lot of intricacies within just one single track. It's not just break beats and, you know, average IDM going on. It's colorful, it's bright, and I love it. It's a really good album. So if you're looking for a really good and innovative and original electronic album, if you're a big Brainfeeder guy, if you love Flying Lotus, if you love all those guys from Brainfeeder and a few people from Warp Records, and you'll definitely dig this album quite a bit. This album is also going to be an honorable mention for me. I did love how well executed the acid house thing that Fortet was going for here. It definitely sounds like sort of an Aphex Twin influence type thing, but still sounding like Fortet, you know, still sounding in his own way. I just wish that maybe it was a little more palpable or had more variety in a sense. I did find the album being about 50 or so minutes long to be maybe kind of overwhelming in a way. But still, if you are looking for an album that is of that acid house vein, if you're looking for something that is dancey yet simultaneously cold and chilling and pretty laid back in a sense. You'll definitely like this album a lot. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the albums that came out in September. I realized that there were some that I didn't quite get a chance to listen to fully. So if there are albums that come to mind, if in terms of albums I did not mention, what were some albums that I probably should check out, or what are some albums I should stay away from? What did you think of any of those? And what did you think of any of the albums that I mentioned with this video? CW Music here, signing off.